like optimizations. We want to extend it later to maintainers to be able to like say, yeah, this command was useful, or I don't know, and do some metrics about it, or as long as you get, I don't know, 10 useful comments, like throw everything else away. Yeah, but that's up to discussion. This is just the first thing that kind of works,
Sure.
and yeah, we're open to new ideas.
But I mean, we don't want any web reports in general, or do we want them?
The report's always going to exist. We allow the report to exist in the board without having a Bugzilla account already.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this doesn't.
Okay, this one's for valid anonymous to the Bugzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gonna live there. Okay. Another fancy thing. Guessing probable fixes. When you get a bug report and let's say new package came out, I don't know, whatever, Firefox came out, and it starts crashing. And it crashes, it gets updated, it crashes, and then suddenly you don't see the crash for like 4 weeks. Yeah, so you can look at the body and say, hey, we've got an update that didn't experience a crash for 4 weeks. It
looks
probably
like it got fixed. Yeah. I like the idea.
So what we have in proof of concept is something like this. You can see we've added a column was probably fixed. Yeah, last year, 5 months. The thing is, some people don't update. They just don't. There are bugs that have been fixed for like a year, and people still use the original versions. So they still will occur here, but yeah, we can at least point you. It was already fixed last year, or it's most probably fixed last year. You just need to update.
Nice.
And when you open the report, you can see this is probably what you're aiming for. Yeah, it should be somehow more visible, or I don't know, in big red font.
Pop up window update finally.
Yeah, our package kit would just pop up. Yeah, but again, it's at the moment it's just a proof of concept, or we're probably gonna deploy this and wait what people think about that.
That's really nice, though. I mean, that's going to be helpful to people. Maybe even helpful to QA. Hey, just go to this version.
Oh yeah. I mean, we could use it for.
Maybe you need to add some possibility for QA, like to say this is not the fix actually.
Yeah.
So they need to tick like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking of its usefulness just for the maintainers, because you can go and look at your own stuff and say, oh, this is probably fixed, I can go and close a bug, because then when reporters see the bug, they see that it's fixed, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of where I was going with it. I actually have a thought on the UI thing, but I'll put it at the end, because it's more general than one particular issue.
So these last two things, like comments on this, kudos to Marek, he wasn't commenting it. He's our new guy. Okay. Next, more long-term future. We would like to integrate with other distributions. CentOS is pretty straightforward. It kind of works. It sends the micro reports even at the moment, even though they kind of get lost. Then we've got a bunch of stuff that we don't know what to do about, like Fedora remixes. We're getting kind of, I don't know, 15 to 20,000 reports a day. And from these, like 1,000 or 1,500 were from these strange remixes, like Out of Remix is Russian Fedora. I don't know if
It's
you are.
mine. I mean, I'm from this community, yes.
Okay. Because I first saw it when I saw the report. Like I googled the RF Remix and
I actually wrote a mail to some support mailing list that saying that we exist, and if people ask for help, they can redirect them to our.
That's great.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure how this is how political correct would this be. That's probably up to discussion with Fedora.
okay.
I wanted to bring it up here, but
But no, we are official community Russian Fedora.
yeah, I mean,
community,
yeah.
it's not
The thing is, I don't know how Fedora people would like. What would they say if we start collecting these reports too?
yeah,
Fedora
that's
reports.
yeah.
Even with CentOS, even though they kind of we were discussing CentOS and they're not against, so it.
So would they set up like their own retrace server?
Yeah,
or-
maybe we can redirect those reports to our server if we know how to set it up.
The idea is to collect like everything at one place. So because I don't know if I'm allowed to show, probably not. Internally, we have a retrace server. We have the server that like correlates CentOS against Fedora, and there are matches like. I don't know. That
I
is.
was just
Can I show the graph? Do you think?
You kind of want to diff between the distributions, and if you can tell somehow from the data sent from the client that the entire chain of crashing code is identical to the code in Fedora, you could send that report to Fedora, and otherwise you'd want to kind of fork it, right?
Yeah.
And then if it was in packages that were forked in the remix, you could send it off to their server. I guess.
Yeah. So because the server knows which components are supported in Fedora.
Right.
One of the like advantages for rewriting the backend was like we started collecting all the components that people sent. Before it was, this is not in Fedora, syntax error or whatever. Now we collect all the fancy stuff like RPM Fusion.
Right. So you have it all laid.
We just don't show it.
Right.
On
But
the
you have it
web.
all there. Right.
But if you filter the problems for I don't know VLC, you will get it.
Okay. Huh.
And it means that ability will not give you an error anymore. If someone reports the bug from RF Remix,
No.
previously it was like
Yes.
impossible to report,
Yes.
and now it's possible.
Yes.
That's really
OpenSUSE, no matter how I do or do not like it, it's the easiest non-random distribution to add because they use RPM. They have like similar workflows. The only thing is we need probably to hook into the OBS to get the component list or something.
Do they have anything similar that we could hook up to?
Like what?
Like their own version?
Oh, I don't know. We actually did some work with SUSE, and they were like excited. Well, when
Oh, sure, if we're going to do the work. Yeah.
when Satellite 5, I don't know, the latest one came out with ABRT window, like the SUSE guys, they came to us like, hey, what's this? How it works? And they started being interested. So we did some tweaks to the client. It's now buildable on SUSE. It can send the reports. We have some very hacked server support, but then it kind of the discussions like stopped. We didn't continue, but it's theoretically like still able to run. Somebody just needs to like. Yeah, I know the SUSE packager didn't push the packages through their process, so they didn't get to. But there's a repository in the OBS that contains them, and they were runnable like 2 months ago. I was trying that. So, and others, if somebody wants to add Debian or Ubuntu, whatever, Mandriva, you can certainly do that. But this needs some like more hacking. Backend for Debian packages, we don't have that, and we have no like resources to do that. So
Yeah.
if you want to do that, we're we're certainly open to this, but you need to do the work.
SUSE don't seem to have anything currently. Ubuntu has something called F4. They might have something new now. I imagine SUSE would use the KDE tool for a lot of their GUI crashes because they tend to default to. Oh, do they default to GNOME these days? I'm not sure. But anyway,
it's probably KDE.
But yeah, they don't seem to have their own at present anyway. It seems like they have really old stuff.
And KDE has the Dr. Concrete, but it just catches KDE or Qt or something like that.
That's probably the crashes most people see is crashes in their desktop apps.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
We could look at the numbers.
Yeah, right now we have a lot of data we can analyze. Make statistics.
Yeah, actually, for the other trainings, we are collecting it to Fedora, so I can show that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is. Yeah. I wanted to know how like Fedora people would. I would want to see their faces when they see this, but
yeah, that's a
So
a really interesting number. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a media codecs and we have Skype and we have Chrome in our records.
Yeah.
That's the basic reason why
People are using it even if they don't speak Russian, right?
So
as a sort of career.
So this is not like deployed, or I don't know if it's gonna get deployed any soon. It's just in my local machine. I applied to the reports because we kind of collect the reports. There's no syntax error, we save them, but well,
that is an interesting
what to do with it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
And do you have this service has like an API I can write queries for data and check the...
There's a very simple API. We're extending it because many people are asking for it.
Yeah, because I would like to have some possibility
Yeah,
to check some data.
we're adding JSON interfaces to all the like web pages that you can see. So if you send like except application JSON, you will get this somehow structured. There's very little views that support it, but we're slowly adding it. All right. Yeah, another thing we would like to see is integrate with Fed message and badges. The problem is the missing authentication. Like this is absolutely anonymous, and we do not know like who to. We can certainly send something on Fed message like, "Hey, this problem seems to be fixed." So that's the thing we can do. But about badges, people are asking for it. Like, give us badges for like $5, $10, $100 reported. We need to think about that.
But that's probably need to be implemented in Bugzilla.
Yeah.
Not on the Verity side.
Yeah, actually, Bugzilla has some new Fed messages that they send like 2 weeks or something. So we need to take a look at that. Yeah, that's just the long-term future.
So is that something that you talk about with like Kevin Fenzi and those guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him right after.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking and we need to discuss it. Even in infrastructure, so yeah. Okay, Docker. No, seriously. Docker, LXC, truths, containers in general. So we were doing some work on truths for the release engineers to catch crashes in mock. This kind of worked. Like the core dumping in truths worked. You could send it to reader server, it gave you the backtrace, and you could report a bug. My very naive idea was that containers will be the same, but they are absolutely not. It breaks some assumptions, like you've got the broad split root sibling that when you root, it points you to the root. When you have container, it points you to slash for all the containers. Yeah. The kernel namespace is just a mess. Like one process can have several bits, and if you create a container within a container, it has 3 bits, and like you need to be very careful about that. And then you have, of course, the problem like you can have the bug collecting the whatever ABRT or not it is running on the I-collector provider, I don't know their term, and collect all the crashes from the containers. Or you can have ABRT running within the container. Yeah, so these are like 2 strong opinions that are not like they don't want to get to the same page. They really want to fight, and I don't know. So and actually, it's probably not possible to have global running it on the host and like correct some interpreter exception. It might be possible if there's some like way to from the container to talk to the hypervisor, but from what the Docker people told me, like Docker should not know it's a container. So it should not know, yeah, I need to talk to my parents' machine.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm running and I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we keep this in mind. We want to support it.
So, is Dan Walsh talking with you guys?
Not really.
No? Do I need to go to
except for a lot of SE Linux denials.
Yeah. Because it sounds like, getting it working in this environment would be a really good thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Dan sits next to me. I'll go nudge him.
Yeah, we definitely like we got different use cases. You don't need to care about kernel loops, for example, in Docker. Core dumping is kind of special. I was doing some proof of concept that seemed to work. Right now we've totally broken it. We just used like chroot, prot space, root. It gets you to the container, but you need to have ABRT installed there, so which no containers do. Yeah, so we need to roll it back. Nice idea, didn't work. Cloud. We got ABRT server running in OpenShift. Whatever, I do not like it. It runs there. We've got an image. I strictly do not. How to say that not to be offensive. Okay, don't do that. Unless you really need to. Like, ABRT server has, it disables a lot of features because we have some assumptions, like you have plenty of disk space. You need to have all the packages locally. And you can like unpack them on demand and stuff. You can do this in OpenShift. You get like 1 gig of disk space and kernel debugging for its gigabyte. So, yeah. If you really need to just collect the statistics, it works, but it disables all the advanced features that we have.
Would you be able to use it as like a front-end collector for something running on bare metal kind of back office?
Yeah, we kind of try that. It sort of works. We have some protocol for pulling reports from other server, but it needs work. Like it's just, we have a single use case where we do this, and it's heavily optimized for our use case. It's not like you can do this.
Yeah. Are the OpenShift guys talking?
Yeah, and another thing is you've got like 40,000 file count quota on OpenShift.
Yeah.
If you get more reports, bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So collecting bugs in these, like OpenShift, OpenStack, like catching OpenShift applications. These are probably open questions. I mean, does it make sense to collect OpenStack? I have no idea what kind of problems OpenStack can have. So we probably need to get in touch with these people
Are you talking about stuff that runs in OpenShift and OpenStack, or just from from like OpenShift or OpenStack themselves?
I would say both. Like, it's up to people what they want. I mean, I can imagine, like, I don't know what language OpenStack is written in. It's probably Java.
Python.
It's mostly Python.
Python. Okay, so like Python exceptions are code even at the moment, so we collect that.
But I guess OpenStack is too big to fit in general to like a Meraki server, because they have their own log service which runs inside OpenStack and takes care of that.
Okay.
But
This is probably
maybe.
Different discussion, so I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
And another thing, do users care? Because like people that run their applications in cloud don't care much about them crashing. Like if I can spin it down, spin it up, and it just works, it's okay for me. So there's very low debugging process going on. So the question is this worth the effort? Like again, an open question. I don't know.
And what does it mean from a support standpoint, right? Is the other question.
Yeah.
If you have to support this kind of thing, like, for instance, a certain company we know on Log does, right? What does that mean?
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting short on time, so I'm gonna do this quickly. FAQ. So, as I said, that's not questions. That's like the things that people complain about the most. Okay, first one. Yeah, GUI is ugly. Who thinks GUI is ugly? Great. So, this doesn't help. Like, seriously, be constructive. Like, we get this a lot. Like, GUI is ugly, or stick to GNOME design. Okay, let me show you something. This is GNOME design. This is what it looks like. I don't know if I can like fit it next to each other. Probably not. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a designer. I don't see much difference here. I mean, it's different, but it's not that different. If you see the difference, please tell us. Like, we really need to know. Okay, we want this component name to be in bold. Okay, we can do that. We want these to have fancy blue and gray backends, the numbers. Okay, we can do that.
There's a lot more white space and it distinguishes the elements more clearly. I find that a lot easier to look at than the other one. It maybe doesn't compress as much data into the same space, but it's a lot easier to look at.
Okay, so just tell us. Like, we don't get this kind of feedback. We really can do this.
So, this is as good a point as any to insert my feedback, which is that the problem that I see with GUI bugs on the board is it's very much a case of the blind leading the blind. You have experienced users with particular workflows, like myself, talking to developers. And what we really need is UX experts. We need to throw Mo Duffy or someone like her at this problem.
Okay.
And bring on board you guys and me, but also some regular users, because we have a whole bunch of workflows here smooshed into a couple of tools and one web interface, and it's really a mess. That's the problem that I see here.
Yeah.
Okay. Multiplexing of workflows. We were looking at the web interface earlier, and you were talking about some features there that are kind of useful to a user who's just submitted a bug. But the web interface is also very heavily aimed at the board developers themselves, at maintainers, QA people looking, it's all smooshing together.
Okay.
That's why we're getting this bad.
So yeah, the thing is, like, we want to improve it. We just need you to tell us how to do it, because, yeah.
Well, and maybe it just needs, like you say, it's a lot of different use cases put together. Maybe you need 3 separate things or whatever.
Yeah, and another
different views.
Another thing, another point that
I'd like
that is probably worth mentioning is like,
I'd like to just get
for
a bunch of us together with a UX designer in the room and throw workflows at them and just really come up with the ones that are important.
So you don't go with small pieces every time, but
right,
you go with
because you give them a little bit of feedback and they change one thing and then just
Yeah.
iterates and iterates and iterates. And
So
Yeah,
we need
maybe-
to get you guys a UX designer.
yeah, that you really do. Just really do.
And a bunch of users.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't all have to be synchronous. You could throw the users at the UX design first, and then have the UX design.
Maybe a comment for designers, like, don't design GUI that doesn't have widgets not present in GTK. It's just terrible. Yeah, okay, let's go for the web UI is ugly. Yeah, it is. What's worse, it's ugly and slow. Yeah, in general we agree. Like, the backend has been rewritten. It's fancy, new, fast. But the web UI is kind of old, crappy. It's slow because there are some database queries hard-coded in the GUI that we now try to like refactor into the backend. There's still some work to do, and we're actually considering a complete rewrite. The guy who created the GUI kind of stopped working on it. Like, well, and we're kind of busy maintaining the whole thing and backfixing. So, yeah, if someone wants to help with this, maybe we got Marek, you volunteer. Yeah, we need to think about whether we want just to improve it or rewrite it completely. I'm for rewriting because it's like horrible right now. It's for someone who comes into this and doesn't know the code, it's just horrible. It's like getting into GCC. Yeah, so we know about that. We want to fix that. We kind of don't have too much resources for that, but we want to improve it. Next, retail server is slow. Yes, it is. So the thing is, there's no task management. Like when we first launched it, it was like 10 jobs a day. It was fine. Now the server is getting overloaded. Like 10 people can retrace at the same time. The code is getting old. One dirty little secret. I wrote retrace server as part of my diploma thesis. So it's kind of my own student code. I hate it. I'm considering to rewrite to Python 3, but yeah, there are actually a group of people who uses it in the state it is, like in their own production, and they're kind of happy with it, and they have airflow. So that's not that easy to throw it away. We had discussions with infrastructure, with Smooch and Nirik, and we're getting 2 new boxes for retrace server. So the old one has kind of very strange storage configuration. It's like RAID, LVM over RAID with LVM over another RAID and LVM all over that stuff.
Put LVM in your LVM so you can.
Yeah, it was like we had like, I don't know, 2 terabytes of RAID 5 storage, and we're out of that. They've added like half more, but it was then so complex that now when you run a retrace job, you can tell on which part of the RAID it runs just by how fast it goes. Yeah. Another thing is, like, it was meant to be a retrace server. We've added the ABR to server part, which has Postgres database, which is kind of big. It's like 150 gigs. And we use it a lot. There was some guy talking about NoSQL and Fedora infra, and he said that like we got 8 million rows in a Postgres database and it was slow. Like we've got a table with all the dependencies in all the packages since we ran it. Can someone widely guess how many rows are in the table?
If you have that data, I've been wanting to construct that. I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay. Yeah, it's about 400 million. And it just works. when the core dump comes, you query build IDs and you get it.
So it's not slow, it's fast.
No, the later process of installing the environment and unpacking packages is really slow. And it got really slower over time. Yeah, rich SR doesn't work for rawhide. Yeah, you're complaining about that all the time.
All the time.
Yes.
Incredibly frustrating.
So, when we first wrote it, not much rawhide users were, and we considered like 24 hours synchronization lag is okay. Apparently it is not. We want to integrate it with bad message, like as soon as like rawhide comp was finished, we just pull the packages in.
It should be a fairly easy win.
Yeah.
I don't imagine it'll be too much work.
Yeah. I agree. So yeah, we're doing this.
Cool. That would be really awesome. And the other thing, you don't require signed packages for a board, do you?
No.
Okay, so it's fine.
So ABRT should use core CTL. Yeah, kind of. Each time somebody comes, like sends a bunch of hate emails, and then disappears. I don't know, gets run over by a car or something. Yeah. So the thing is, ABRT, the core dump hook itself, it does more than just saving the core dump. Which last time I was checking core dump CTL was just saving core dump and the metadata like bits executable to journal. So ABRT does more. It's just, for example, for JVM crashes, it collects the logs from the processes, and it also queries like proc bits variables that are not available after the core dumping finishes. So if systemd takes over the core dump hook and doesn't save these for us, we're done. Like we cannot get that. Another thing is that core dump CTL would need to trigger ABRT each time it saves a core dump, and I think the bug was active like a week ago. I saw it. And Leonard said, yeah, it's tricky to do. We're planning, but it's tricky, we don't have it. So, I mean, I'm not really working on a client side. We've got a guy in Brno who's like leading these discussions. But, I mean, we're not against it, but we need some improvements in the core CTL itself to be able to do this. Yeah, my favorite one. Who has experience with this?
I'm trying to remember, probably.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Like when you send a micro report, it doesn't let you report it to Bugzilla because of this. So, yeah. There are basically two causes. Like, the problem is, you get the core dump or whatever process, and you want to do it. So you start unwinding. And thanks to the fancy mini debugging for feature, you always have like function names and stuff. And then sometimes you just don't. You just get a function that doesn't have a file assigned for. Like you call a function. Apparently it was a function. It was a like call instruction, but it's not mapped in memory. Like wow. So we have been investigating this for a long time. Cause one, it just happens in the last frame. Because if you do a wrong jump, you jump somewhere in the memory and you consider this like the last frame, and the unwinder doesn't stop. So it adds one like jump frame on it. So we fixed that, and people are still complaining. And then we found like, oh, when you run GNOME and JavaScript, it's like, it runs a JIT, and it executes code JITted in memory. And we're like, okay, what to do about that? You can never, it's like, they create an assembly, they have some kind of functions compiled, but you can never get to sources, you can never get to files or the original thing that it came from. We were asking non people. They have some pretty printer in GDB that is able to do this, but unfortunately the process needs to be alive. Like, you need to attach GNOME shell with GDB.
Before it crashes.
And when it crashes, you can do something like print JavaScript stack and
So
we'll
all you
actually.
need to do is build a time machine and then
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't work with core dumps, and it doesn't work even with the, like, I call it zombie process, even though zombie is something.
Yeah.
The state that you're core dumping, you have all the structures, but you're not running anymore.
Yeah.
So we are not really sure what to do about this. Like, our temporary solution that we want to implement is just see there's some pattern like execute JIT or something in the stack, and just like throw away everything under it or mark it as second class information or this is what we want to do, just to get rid of these like multiple frames.
Yeah, just to be able to distinguish them in this situation.
Yeah. For statistics probably, because we're kind of throwing away lots of records because of this.
And it would also just be nicer if you just gave a better error message. And if you catch this case, you can at least tell the user this is just a junk report.
Yeah, that's true.
Because this means nothing when you see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll definitely work on this.
But are folks on the other side looking at what we could do to actually get the state that you need, or?
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, if it's possible to dump the JavaScript from a running process, it's most probably possible to do it from core dump. You just need to implement it.
We need to find the people who can do it. So contact the guys who work with JavaScript.
So would this be like the Java guys, or?
JavaScript,
Yeah.
No, JavaScript isn't.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
I
The author of
know
the
who
Bridge
does
printer in
JavaScript.
GDB. I don't know who wrote it.
Yeah.
I should know who does JavaScript at the moment.
What engine does GNOME use for JavaScript?
They're using SpiderMonkey.
GJS, it's kind of a version of SpiderMonkey.
Yeah.
Okay.
They bump it every so often. I think they're fairly new.
Yeah.
Because we have that crash in GNOME that people hit a lot of, which we know about because of the board, and that's in the JavaScript, so I looked into it a little bit.
Okay, I think that's all from me. I'm heavily out of time.
Yep.
Just catch me outside if you want to discuss something else.
I have one.